The Ultimate Football Fan is now here.
All the biggest fan channels in one place.
Next night stand.
100% Chelsea.
Arsenal Fan TV.
All about the fans.
Why is he on the fucking pitch? What for what?
Exclusive content only here.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to
The UFF Daily Football Show.
The number one source for everything going on in the football world, daily.
UFF. Do what you have to do.
Hello, welcome back to FanPark Live. I'm Terry Flew, joined by Ranty today from Footy Says. England 2, Nigeria 1. Maybe not as entertaining a second half as we got in the first, but we want to hear your views and opinions, whether you're an England fan of Nigeria, or just watch the game in general, want to give your opinions or views ahead of the forthcoming World Cup. We want to hear from you on 0203 606 0315. Ranty, overall, what was your views on the game, both from an England point of view and from a Nigerian aspect as well?
I'll start with England. I think second half wasn't as great as the first half, I'll be honest. I think they showed a bit of complacency, which obviously led towards the Nigeria goal. I don't know whether that was down to them feeling a bit more comfortable knowing that they were the better side at the time, or whether it was simply a case of, Nigeria coming out of the tracks. Personally, I think Southgate is going to have to look at how his team respond when they do concede a goal. I would like to see how they respond, especially when they find themselves in those type of predicaments where they're comfortable, they're leading, and then all of a sudden a 2 goal deficit turns into a 1 goal deficit. How does the team respond to that? And I didn't think we were shown enough. I know we brought on a few subs, but for me, I thought it was a pretty stellar performance in the second half. From a Nigeria perspective, they were a lot better. I think the coach realised that they had to respond. I thought Iwobi was a lot more influential in the second half. He was the one that scored the goal, but he also built it up as well. The subs, the Musas, the Iheanachos, he holds up the ball a lot better than Igala. So for me, I think there were signs that Nigeria can play a progressive style of football. I don't think that's going to be enough for them to progress further than England in the tournament, but the signs were promising. I'm sure the people that were at the game would have enjoyed that goal, especially those who have travelled to Wembley today. But all in all, I was impressed with England in terms of how they approached the game in the first half, but I wasn't that impressed in the second half. I think Southgate will definitely look into that.
Yeah, I think so. I think your analysis is spot on. England did well. I mean, they got the victory, which is the most important thing. First half performance was a lot better, but that response, they did go flat after conceding, and they kind of found it hard to get into the game. You give a lot of credit there to Nigeria, up in their tempo, pushing and prodding. But you listened to the commentators throughout the course of the game, and he made a very interesting point that before the Euros in 2016, England beat Portugal. We went out in less than a few weeks, and Portugal went on to win the tournament. So there's only so much you can take from these games. They're more about finessing fitness, because you saw, for instance, Danny Rose come on, and he looks off the pace. He hasn't played a lot of Spurs this year. You think he looks half a yard unfit, which is a concern, because I still like to see on the left. I like to see a man naturally left-footed. I think it helps. Sometimes you need to get a cross in quickly. It helps because you might get more accuracy, but he does look a little bit rusty when he plays, which is a bit of a concern.
I think, I do agree. I think it's not surprising to me, being a Spurs fan. Ben Davies has played a lot more games than Danny Rose this season, or he had played a lot more games than Danny Rose this season. And for me, he hasn't been able to replicate. He hasn't been able to play the same good style of football he played the season before, which is a worry. And I think Southgate's probably picked up on that as well, that he's not as fit as he used to be. If you look at the difference between Kyle Walker and Danny Rose, Kyle Walker's gone and won a Premier League title, and he's playing first team football, and he's kept that same intensity. Obviously with Danny Rose, he's had to deal with a long-term injury, but
But he's
You
been
can see
back
why he's
fit the
not.
majority of the season, hasn't he?
He
That's
has,
the
but he
thing.
can't get
It's
into the team.
because
He can't get
Poch
into the
doesn't
team.
play. Poch doesn't play people that don't want to stay at the club. You've seen it with him and with Toby Alderweireld.
I think it's obviously there's the whole issue outside of off the pitch as well. But I think if you look at his overall game this season, can you really say he's been as good as Ben Davies? And the answer for me would personally be no.
No, absolutely he hasn't. And he's one of those players where if Danny Rose had not have been picked for England for the World Cup, you maybe wouldn't have been surprised based on the fact that he's not been playing.
100%,
Him and Luke Shaw have played about the same amount of minutes in games this entire season as each other. So you sit there and think, clearly Danny Rose is a better left back. There's no doubt about that. But it's whether or not he can be fit, whether his football is flowing, whether he's. And do you know what? When these players are a little bit unfit, whether their match sharpness isn't there, it's stuff like their touch and their mental speed on the ball that can be impacted, and that's the kind of match fitness that he looks like he's missing, which is unfortunate for him. And we will later on in the show, we're going to touch a little bit we're going to talk Harry Kane later on in the show, because he is the man that a lot of our hopes are being pinned around for this World Cup in terms of scoring the goals and getting them. I'm going to give you my take and my flavour on what I want to happen for him and what I hope the English press and the English sort of fan base don't go and do to Harry Kane should he fail to deliver. Also going to touch a little bit later on why you support who you decide to support. So you may be born in England but may not support them. You may have moved to this country when you were younger but don't support England. I really want to hear some people's views and opinions on the country they support and why it differs for many, many people. And I'd just like to just tackle that a little bit. But we're ready to take some of your calls now on England's game versus Nigeria. I believe we have an Arsenal fan on the line that's coming through. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name is Shah.
Shah?
Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I just want to say, typical England again, fucking shit game. Boring, nothing good about it. And nothing to look forward to for the World Cup.
So nothing about the whole 90 minutes today. There was no entertaining factor, no good football, no good movement. You saw nothing.
No urgency, no movement, just lack of ideas. Everything was nothing good about it today.
Okay, so I mean, look, instantly lack of ideas. We look at the second half, which wasn't as good as the first, no doubt. Lack of ideas. Delph's ball over the top for Rashford's header. That looked like a pretty good idea.
And the movement in the first half, I thought was brilliant.
It was phenomenal.
As well. I thought Sterling in behind.
I think we're a bit crap in the final third. Defensively, I think we're there. We were right at the top with all the good teams. So in the final third, it's just like they just have no ideas. Like, at times, yeah, they might be, but that overall, I don't really see. I think they're just so boring to watch. They don't excite me when I watch them, like something like that.
Okay. Look,
what are you expecting? What are you expecting from this England team? Because you seem disappointed in what you've seen. Like, is there an expectation you have for them going into this World Cup?
What's that? I think they'll scrape it through the groups,
Right.
back 16, and they'll go out. And I wouldn't be surprised by that, because it's just typical England. Every fan gets hyped before the tournament that they'll go on a couple of results. Then when it comes to it, they'll bottle it. They'll bottle jobs.
fair enough. Look, appreciate your call. Go on.
Can I say one more thing?
Yep.
I'm telling you, they will regret the decision not to pick Jack Wilshere. They will regret that.
Are you an Arsenal fan on the line by any chance?
It all makes sense. Now.
Yeah.
It all makes sense now.
Are
But
you,
not just Jack Wilshere, like anyone, even Adam Lallana,
but
Wilshere.
do you feel like you're a little bit, because you're the first person I've heard, whether it be fan or professional pundit, say that defensively we look as good as everybody else, but going forward we don't. Everybody else I've spoken to says going forward pretty decent. It's defensively where we've got the problems. It feels a little bit Jack Wilshere supporting, a bit salty. Your opinion?
No, I feel like the midfield is like no creativity in the midfield. Like they all just pass inside. It's so boring. Like in the World Cup, you're gonna have to need this, and they will regret that. Because look at like.
I think that was more. I think that was more of the case in the second half. They looked pretty attacking in the first half. That's where their 2 goals came.
It's like they're all just like 5% like Jordan Henderson. Like there's nothing from that. There's nothing. He hasn't got anything about him.
He didn't play.
Like,
Do you support England or do you support Jack Wilshere? I'm
I support
confused.
England. I agree with the Wilshere. Like, I'm not
Henderson didn't play,
I'm
by
not
the
angry
way.
that they didn't take him, because I understand why they didn't take him. It's like,
But then,
didn't-
if you
they had
understand
someone
why
like
they didn't
Lallana.
take him, why are they going to regret it?
If they had someone like Chamberlain instead,
But he's
then I would,
injured.
like,
But he's injured.
completely, I would agree with it. But then, like, because they haven't got anyone else who's like Chamberlain, who's like got that creativity in him, so they'll obviously regret
Is
it.
this about the game or England in general? Because Henderson didn't play.
It's just like the only I think Lingard played all right, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Mate, really appreciate your call. We've got some more people to get to. Thank you. I just think he's unhappy that Jack Wilshere didn't get picked.
Clearly.
When he threw that comment out, I was like, should have cottoned on sooner. But England, they weren't that bad. For me, he's talking nonsense. There was lots of great creativity in that first half. Some opportunities where maybe the final ball or the shot wasn't good enough, but the creativity was there. And there were still opportunities in that second half. That ball from Delph to Rashford, for an instance. If Rashford gets his head on that and scores, it goes down as a legitimate great goal. That ball was majestic. If David Silva played that pass or Neymar does that at the World Cup, everybody's going to wax lyrical about it. 100%. So there is creativity there. We're ready for the next call. We've got another caller on the line. I think. Maybe. Oh, it's coming through now. Then we're going to go through some of the live YouTube comments. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Michael.
Hi, Michael.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Give us your opinions on England today.
Well, I thought the first half, I thought we were right. Good passing, good intensity. I thought we played really, really well from the start. And then I thought the second half, we went just a bit flat. Because obviously in the second half, I noticed Nigeria changed their formation in their states to matching them. And then England just went a bit full on stale with that. But apart from that, overall, I thought we played all right.
Do you agree with our previous caller who said that it was boring, no creativity, no movement? He says defensively we look as good as anybody in the world, but going forward and in midfield, because there's no Jack Wilshere, England just look poor and will regret not taking him.
No, I thought we played all right. I thought, the thing is, whenever I've seen England in the past, I thought we usually start slow and boring and backwards and sideways, But I thought, from the start, the whistle went, I thought we played all right. I mean, I noticed I was good using the width a lot. I like the fact that we're using the width. The only thing about it is Sterling, for me, I thought he needs to work on his end product.
100%.
Going forward, he's great. He's got pace. He can beat players, but he just needs to work on his end product. But yeah, I thought the second half was a bit flat out. But I don't think we were boring.
Do you think the second half performance, in contrast to the first half performance, was down to complacency? Because obviously Nigeria got the goal back, and they could have actually gone on to get the equaliser as well.
Yeah, I thought so. Because obviously Nigeria is no simple team. I mean, they smashed Argentina 4-2 in Argentina, 2-0 up. Yeah. And I thought to myself, England, even though we're 2-0 up, England's got to try and keep up the same intensity. I mean, Glenn Hoddle said the fact that when they were playing 3-5-2, he was saying about how England should maybe change the formation to try and use the wings a lot, to try and hit the Nigerians back three and try and get in behind a lot.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
No, I agree. I think that there'll be a lot taken from that game. They will be encouraged by their first half display. I thought maybe the substitutions could have been a little different as well. I would have liked to have seen Jamie Vardy come onto the pitch.
Yeah, I wanted Jamie Vardy to come on as well because he's with Vardy, you can chase those dead balls you see for Leicester City. I wanted him to come up. I thought Rashford maybe didn't have a bit of an impact for the last few minutes. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, he had a shot and that headed opportunity. As an England fan, though, looking ahead at this World Cup, what are your personal expectations for this squad and Southgate and the team?
The thing is, I never really have any. After the Euros, with Iceland getting knocked out, I don't really have much expectations for England. I mean, obviously, I want them to do well in the World Cup, but at the same time, I don't want to get embarrassed like we usually do in the last few tournaments. I mean, if they can get to the quarterfinals, then I think that'll be a good progression from the previous tournament.
Yep.
And hopefully, we don't get massive embarrassment like we have in the World Cups and the Euros.
No, I agree with you there completely, mate. Thank you very much for your call. Really good points.
That's all right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Going to go to some of these comments here that have been on YouTube. Someone's put a a super chat in, Robert Ingram, and just says, love the channel. He just wrote 1966 and 2018. I think that's a little bit of a bit of sarcasm in there. I'd love to think England would win the World Cup, but personally, as an England fan, I highly doubt that's the case. Danny here says, well done, England. The Nigeria team need an overhaul before the World Cup. 4 players out and 4 solid players in. There's not really a transfer window for international football. I mean, you know this being a Nigerian supporter.
Yeah.
Overhaul, is anyone who's in that squad that shouldn't be there? Would you bring anybody else additional in to the Nigeria team?
I mean, it's difficult at this stage. I mean, obviously you're gonna want you're gonna have to look at the players coming into the game in terms of the youngsters and the young blood coming in. But I think what they have now, the managers come in and he's tried to find a formation that kind of suits their style of play. And I think the likes of, I said it when we were off here, I think the likes of Iwobi are benefiting from it. I think Moses is allowed to play them in a much more advanced position now. Iheanacho, who I think is a very good player, he's going to be able to kind of express himself at the World Cup, which I think is going to be important for his development. I mean, personally, you can't expect too much from a country like Nigeria in terms of competing on the grandest stage of them all. But I think what we did see for the 90 minutes or for the 45 minutes, I thought was impressive. Ahmed Musa, he's got a lot of pace about him. He's very dangerous. He was dangerous at the last World Cup as well. So, yeah, there are options there. And obviously, naturally, you want to see some sort of, fresh talent coming.
Yeah, and what would represent success? Getting out of the group stages?
Definitely getting out of the group stages. If we can get out the group stages, which is a very, very difficult group. We've got Croatia, we've got Argentina, and then Iceland as well, I believe. So
all of those teams are good. All of those
Yeah,
teams are good. I mean,
so-
Iceland won their group qualifying. Croatia are generally very good in the group stages of major tournaments. It always tends to fall away a little bit in the knockouts for them.
Yeah.
And Argentina,
Goes without saying.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got an Arsenal and England fan on the line, being put through to us now. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name is Bailey.
Hello, Bailey. How are you?
Hi, mate.
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. What's on your mind regarding England, the World Cup, today's game? What do you want to say?
Well, I just thought that we played very well in the first half, and some of the young players were quite promising. But I think where we're lacking this year is our adaptation when it comes to the second half and that. Because I thought that Nigeria did very well when it came to switching their formation and managing to sort of counter how we were playing.
Do you think that's down to the personnel? Because Southgate kind of identified what you were saying and he did try and make the changes, but it didn't really seem to make that much of a difference. Do you think that's down to the players, or what do you think that's down to?
I think formation helps a lot, because I saw that they switched to having wing backs at the second half, which definitely counted us from down the flanks, and that's kind of sort of how they were attacking most of the second half, getting a lot of corners from that.
Yeah.
So I think it's not just players that you need to switch out; it's also the formation.
Yeah. So do you think Southgate probably needs to look at a plan B if it gets to a point like how it got today with England conceding?
Yeah, definitely, and especially saying we're conceding to a team like Nigeria, teams like Germany, and especially Belgium in our group, they'll probably have a lot more sort of like ways to switch it around and probably contort England.
Which is true, that they will have that. And I think the one thing that helps a team like England when you're playing, with all due respect, a team like Tunisia or Nigeria, these teams are good, solid international sides, but they don't have the depth and quality that a Belgium has. That Belgium and Germany, Brazil, Argentina, they have strength in depth. They have some of these international teams will have world-class players sitting on the bench ready to change these formations with. So I definitely agree that's where England need to improve. You had something else you were going to say?
I was going to say, I mean, you bring up a good point there. I think my main concern for England would be if they come up against the likes of a Germany or a Brazil or a Belgium, obviously going into the World Cup. If they happen to be on the back foot, concede first, how do they respond? We can't have the same sort of performance that they showed that they put out in the second half.
No.
The players are going to have to up the ante somehow. Is it going to be a case where Southgate does look at his bench and he looks for options to change it? They're not going to have the same impact. I mean, you brought up a good point about Vardy. For me personally, I think Vardy, even if he's not starting, he has to be part of the team.
And against the better sides.
Against the better
because
sides.
They're not going to defend with as many numbers.
Yeah,
and they're going to leave room for him to be able to run in behind. Whether that's playing the ball into the channels, for him to hold it up and playing other people, or off that shoulder. He's probably the best striker in England, English striker we have at playing off the shoulder. I think against the smaller teams that are going to sit back and be compact, like Nigeria were in that second half, he will struggle. But against Belgium, if we're very fortunate enough to get in front of a Germany or a Brazil, that's where I think he could come into his own. But what I'm really encouraged about with Gareth Southgate, we spoke about this during the game, that a lot of his choices for the England team have been, there's a lot of versatility. You've got Ashley Young, Eric Dyer as examples, Fabian Delph. They can play 1, 2, 3 positions on the pitch. And I think what that also means is that there won't be a set England side. The team he plays against Tunisia and Panama, I think, will change for who plays Belgium. One, that's good because it means he's got game plans for different teams. Two, what I've seen too much from England managers in my lifetime is pretty much the same 3 teams play the 3 opening games of the tournament. By the time they get to the knockout stages, those players are quite tired. All the other big sides, because they've got the squads to do it, rotate throughout the group stages, and they try and keep players fresh. And if we can utilise that and do that a bit better this time round, like, you know, whatever would happen at previous Euros and World Cups, Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, Beckham, all those players played every minute of every game. And I actually think you need to sometimes say, right, okay, this, you know what, Harry Kane, you've played the first 2 games, you've scored 4 goals, fingers crossed. But we're resting you for the Belgian game because we've qualified. We'll bring you on if we need you, but we want you fresh for that next knockout game. That's the type of management I want to see. Bold, progressive, and actually thinking beyond the game that's just in front of you. And I think you need to do that if you want to have any aspirations of trying to win it. But listen, really appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Another England fan about to come through now to have a little bit of a chit chat with us. Can't comment here. England are pathetic. I really wouldn't call this England team pathetic. That's very unfair. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
It's your previous caller from before.
What's up?
Hello.
I listened to what you were saying near the end about my special love towards Jack Wilshere. Like, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Because I feel like even if Chamberlain, I'm giving you an example. Like, obviously he's not there, but if Chamberlain was there, then I think England could have a real shot at this World Cup. Because they've got a lot of like threats in their team, like Ali, Sterling, Kane.
So what makes you think that Oxlade-Chamberlain will make a massive difference from England not winning the World Cup to actually having a big chance of winning the World Cup? Why would Chamberlain be the difference?
A lot, like, he has what most essential midfielders that England don't have, like that bit of creativity. He's a runner. Like I don't see anyone else in England's central midfield doing that. Like, maybe apart from Jesse Lingard, but the rest are just like.
Yeah, but look, the thing is that I don't overly disagree. Oxlade-Chamberlain is a very good player. He plays different from everybody else. But the thing is,
you start to compare the stats.
But he's not there though. But statistically, it marries itself out. But we can't take him. So there's almost, you know, I'd love to be able to still pick David Beckham. I'd love to be able to pick Sir Stanley Matthews. But God rest his soul, he's dead. There's nothing you can do about this, mate. So I don't really understand what your point is. I feel like you've got a bit of a bitterness towards certain England players. And I think this is stemming from your club rivalry.
No, what I mean is, like, if Chamberlain's not there, you need someone who has got creativity. Like, maybe not as like a starting 11 player, but you need someone who can do it. Lallana, I'm not really convinced by him. Who else? You tell me who else in England midfielder has that creativity?
Well, Ali got more assists and goals than Chamberlain combined this season.
Right.
So.
Maybe Ali, yeah. All right.
I would say Dele Alli's got creativeness in him, no doubt. Jesse Lingard can create, no doubt. Loftus-Cheek, I think, can create.
Me personally, I think going by the first half especially, I thought there was fluidity to England's game. I thought that I liked the way that Ali and Jesse Lingard played behind Sterling and Kane. Okay, they didn't probably keep up the same intensity in the second half, but you saw there were glimpses of it. So I think there's positives in that regard. I mean, I understand the point that Wilshere is obviously talented, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, you do understand that, you know, what they can bring to a team, but I don't think we should be dismissive of the likes of Jesse Lingard, who has had a decent season for Manchester United, and obviously Dele Alli's had a a very decent season for Spurs as well. And Sterling, it goes without saying. You've got Kane dropping in behind as well. So it's a difficult one. I understand your point, but I don't think bringing in Oxlade-Chamberlain is going to make a massive difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I mean, I listened to the previous call, like the other caller, and I 100% agree with what he said. Like, usually England, they always start off slow, but this time they started off very quickly, and I'm pleased by that. It's just like, when you got bigger threats like Belgium coming at you, it's going to be a different story, isn't it? Like,
of course it is. But then at the same time, equally, there'll be more space to play. The way we played in that first half, we counter-attacked quite well, and there was some space to play into. Nigeria, I wouldn't, in that first half, Nigeria were a little bit more open than in the second. There's also the element of, when you play Belgium, when you play these bigger sides, they will give you a bit more time and space to play football because they want to. They actually want to encourage you to open up so they can.
100%.
What you're going to see different when England go up against a bigger team, you're going to see what we've done in previous friendlies against the likes of Brazil, as an example. We will sit back and we will. I'll throw the phrase out there because it's fashionable. We will park the bus and try and counter. So it becomes a very different game. If England go toe to toe with Spain, Brazil, or Germany, we will get spanked because we're not as good as them as a collective, and we don't have pound for pound. We're not strong, and we're not as good as a collective yet. That's simple, fundamental fact as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So we need to adapt to our game. So look, I think there is enough creativity in this team. There's enough quality. There's goal scorers. There's good wide men, good crosses of the ball. There is enough quality for us to, if we click and if we perform well, there is enough in this England team to. We won't easily beat Panama and Tunisia, but I think we can beat them. To say it's going to be easy is ridiculous. That should get us through into the knockout stages.
It's not FIFA, man.
Exactly.
You have to approach each game tactically. I
completely agree with that. Just like, I don't really see anything from this attack though. I'm not encouraged by it.
I saw a lot from the attack, even if it was within the first half.
I've already said it. Defensively, I think we're up there with everyone else. The defence actually is on point. I
won't even lie to you. Going into that tournament, I think if anything is going to get exposed in that tournament, it will be our defence. Yeah. Only because we're playing three at the back. That's just my own personal opinion on that. Because I think it's dangerous to play three at the back in a World Cup where you come up against the likes of Belgium, potentially a Germany or a Brazil who can open you up with ease. Yeah. With complete ease.
Yeah, no, because I admit when Southgate started playing Kyle Walker in the back three, I was having a go at him. But to be honest with you, I think he's got a real gem there, and Kyle Walker's been alright there, to be honest.
Mate, really appreciate you coming back on the air. Appreciate your call. Thank you.
Cheers.
We're going to move this conversation on a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about Harry Kane now, actually. We spoke about the attacking prowess, and I know you're a Spurs fan as well, so a man very close to your heart. I rate Harry Kane massively. Yeah. I do refer to him as, I think he's the best out-and-out number 9 striker in world football right now. I don't think there is a better one than him. I would trust him one-on-one on goal over any other player in the world, actually. That's how much I rate Harry Kane as a striker. I have massive concerns about him going into this World Cup, though. Not him as an individual. I don't think being captain worries him. I don't think scoring goals is a concern. I think he's confident. Yeah. My issue is, when I've watched England in the last 10 to 15 years, what I have seen is this inability in games, a little bit like the guy said, to create enough opportunities. Right. And we did have a world-class striker when he was younger. He petered out towards the end, but we had a world-class striker and attacker in Wayne Rooney. Yeah. Not for me as prolific a goal scorer as Harry Kane, not as good a finisher, but a very good top-class, world-class at times all-round player. What I hope doesn't happen to Harry Kane in this tournament is that we freeze, don't help create the chances for him, and then he walks away with 1 or no goals. And the reason I say that is because Harry Kane right now is the pillar of hope. And we saw that it was around Rooney's neck for a long time. Before that, it was around David Beckham's neck as an example. And what I don't want to end up happening to Harry Kane is for England to fail and for him to leave the tournament as the scapegoat. Do you get where I'm coming from? Because I've seen it happen too often to English players where we love them, we rave about them. 20, I think it's 13 goals in 24 England games he's got. I know he was at the Euros, but he was still kind of on the fringes then, as an example. He now goes into this tournament as the main man.
Yeah.
And my honest, fervent hope is that we can actually create the chances and the opportunities in this tournament for Harry Kane. In terms of when you look at him in this England setup, how we want your calls on this, by the way, on 0203 606 0315. How is Harry Kane going to do? Is he prepped for Harry Kane conversation? Have a chat with him for it. Okay, so we'll go into him on that. We'll take the call and then we'll come to your opinions.
Sure,
We're going to talk about Harry Kane and what he's going to do at this World Cup. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hey, Diego.
Hello, Diego. Yes, we're talking about Harry Kane now in terms of, as an England fan, what are you expecting from him at this World Cup, and what do you think he'll deliver?
Well, I think personally he's the best striker in the world, the best nine, the best finisher. I think there's no one that can finish better than him in a 1-1 situation against a keeper.
So when it comes to watching him, as I've just sort of sat here and said, my concern is that England as a team collectively freeze. He doesn't get given the opportunities to score goals. And I'm worried about the English fans, and I'm worried about the English media turning on Harry Kane in the same way they did with Wayne Rooney if he doesn't perform, or if he doesn't get the support from his colleagues in performing. Do you think there's a risk that this could happen? Because we do regard him as being one of the, or if not the best striker in the world.
I do, because he has, well, I think actually not that much, because I think England in this World Cup, personally, I think they don't have the amount of pressure they have had in last tournaments, because we have expected a lot from them, and they haven't delivered. So maybe this one, I don't think the expectations are so high, so I think they don't have that pressure. I think they have nothing to lose. And that's why I think they took Loftus-Cheek and Alexander-Arnold, because they're young players that have no fear, and maybe they get a chance in this World Cup to prove themselves as big players. And I think Harry Kane is, well, if he doesn't I don't know, appear or score goals, I think anyways he's still gonna have the fame of the best striker in the world. And the point is, I don't see this World Cup affecting him anyway, because I don't think this is going to affect him in any way if he doesn't deliver, because I think he doesn't have the amount of pressure that Rooney had. Yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for your. And in terms of England, we'll just touch on that. How do you think they'll do at this World Cup, in your opinion?
I think actually they if they play with the guts and if they're brave enough to play, because Belgium, you see, I just saw the lineup against the game against Portugal today. It's insane. Like the quality of players they have in every position, it's amazing. So if we play a good football with guts and nice touching and movement as we had in this game in the first half, which I was very, very pleased to see Lingard and Dele Alli playing together so well. I think we actually have a chance to get further than we have before.
Mate, Diego, thank you very much for your call. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Top man. So look, from your point of view, we've touched on Harry Kane here. How do you think he's going to do at this World Cup?
I guess it's hard to say, only because I think it depends on the players around him. I think we saw in the first half today that he linked up very well with the likes of Sterling and Dele Alli, who he knows very well as well. It's going to depend on the service to some extent, but he has also shown that he can create things for himself as well. He is going to have to dig deep at the World Cup, because he's not going to have many chances to prove his worth. We already know what he's capable of, but he's not going to have that many chances to prove his worth. And the reason I say that is because you're not playing for your club anymore. You're playing for your country, and you're not going to get the same intensity as you would under Pochettino for Spurs. The problem he had at the Euros for me was he was trying too hard, number one. He was trying to take corners, trying to take free kicks, etc. and all of that. That didn't work out for him. He's going to have to be a lot more smarter, and I think being given the responsibility of being a captain is going to help a lot. There's going to be times where he doesn't have to go for goal. There's going to be times where his team are going to need him to drop deep so other people can be effective in games. It's not just going to essentially be about him scoring. We know what Harry Kane is capable of doing. We know what he's capable of doing, but he is going to have to show an element of maturity which his team are going to have to rely on a lot. Of course, we're going to want him to get the goals. We want him to be on the end of things, but it's not always going to work out for him. It's about how he responds to that.
Yeah, and I think how he responds to it's important, of course. Yeah. But I think the way the fans and the media do it, because I often feel there's not as much pressure on this England squad as the previous 3 or 4 World Cups, for instance, we've gone to. And Rooney's been the man. You know, he burst onto the scene at 15, and he was going to be Pele. He was going to make England win a World Cup. And what I'm happy with is that we're not saying that about Harry Kane. He's going to make us win a World Cup, because I don't want to see us destroy another top talent by burdening them with pressure and then throwing him off the edge of a cliff if he only walks away with 1 goal. And I do worry, because the English press love to do that. And English fans, especially if they're Gooners or they don't really like Spurs. Liverpool fans might go for him this year because there's been that beef this year. I think they do that in this country.
No, I agree. I think for Harry Kane, I think we live in an era now where, you know, social media is so predominant, and a lot of people now, they have affiliation with their clubs. So regardless of who the player represents for his country, if he plays for an opposing team, you want him to do bad to some extent. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is now. So as you rightfully said, the likes of Liverpool, obviously, they've had some sort of imaginary rivalry with Spurs fans for some reason this season, even though we finished above them and didn't mention too much about it. Obviously, you've got Arsenal fans as well.
I think that was the Mo Salah and Harry Kane competing for the Golden Boot. It made them, when Harry Kane got that goal that he probably didn't touch, but he said he did, they melted down over it, and there's no need. But But it's like, I think that and I'm not attacking Liverpool fans specifically here, because Man United fans used to do it to Steven Gerrard if he had a bad game, and they'll probably do it to Raheem Sterling. I'm not singling out Liverpool only here, but if Harry Kane goes a couple of games without scoring, I see Spurs' rivals, the people that don't like Harry Kane, will get on him too much.
100%. But he deals with that well. The thing about Harry Kane, and this is why it's a testament to him as a striker, because he loves to bounce back from criticism. Like he gives himself personal goals. His aim this season was to get 30 goals. He hit 30 goals this season in the Premier League. The first season where he had his breakthrough season, people were saying, now they know how he plays, you know, they're going to double up on him.
Is that 3 years or 4 years running now?
Do you understand what I'm saying? They called him a one-season wonder. So he knows how to bounce back from criticism, and I do understand your worry in regards to how they might respond.
And maybe that's a benefit, because, again, with Wayne Rooney, it was never... Is he going to do it again? It was always, I can't wait to see how good he's going to be this year. And I think that expectation is, I always say, like, if you set your expectations here, like Wayne Rooney never promised us any of this. The media and the fans said Wayne Rooney is going to be Pele. Right? We even had the song. You got United fans called him the White Pele for a decade. He never got to that level, but everybody was like, he's a disappointment. Well, actually, no. You're the reason that he's a disappointment, because you expected him to be that good.
Build him up to break
where
him
Harry
down.
Kane, everybody, because maybe you're right there. I didn't think about it from that point of view. Everyone expects Harry Kane to suddenly, for 4 years now, everyone's expected Harry Kane to fade away and just walk off into the sunset and be a bit of a flop. And he hasn't done that.
Make no mistake about it. He'll go into this World Cup knowing what people or his doubters are expecting of him at this tournament, because he didn't do. We all know that he didn't do well at the Euros, but I think he'll go into this tournament. I think he'll do really well, not just from an individual, standpoint, but from a team perspective as well.
Captain level leader.
As a leader, I think he is going to set an example for England. I don't expect them to go far, but I think that's another reason why Southgate is giving him the captaincy. He's only 24, but he's seen him grow as a player. He's seen him from when he was young. He's seen him develop. We've all seen him develop, and he's given him that responsibility, and I think he's gonna respond well to it personally.
Good points there. We've got a call here from is it England fan?
Nigeria.
We've got a call. I think it's an England fan. England or Nigeria. Ab said both countries. I can't. He supports both.
Come on.
Cool. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Jibril.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Jibril.
Hey. Good.
Yeah.
You support Nigeria and England?
Yeah, I do.
That's
But
fine.
I'm
There's
actually
no issue with that. What would you like to say this evening?
about the match. I watched the first half.
What did you think?
Hello?
Jabril, what did you think about the first half?
The first half was good. I was very, very happy watching the game, and because the first half, how they played the passes and stuff around, it was so awesome. I just love it. But the problem I say with the first half is that the first half was that Nigeria wasn't that good. I don't know if England will better than Nigeria overall, but it just seems like Nigeria were very poor in the first half. So I can't really say England was very good. So, but the second half, Nigeria came into the game, and
mate, do us a favour. Can you turn down your device that you're watching the show on, please? We might be able to hear you better.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
What was I saying? What was I saying anyway? Okay. I was impressed with Delph and Loftus-Cheek when they came in.
Okay.
And they were they showed something that just seems like England didn't have when they were playing the second half. That seems kind of flat.
Yeah.
Like that.
A question for you then, just quickly on both nations. How well do you think Nigeria will do at the World Cup?
I don't know much about Nigerian squad because I haven't been following Nigeria for a long time now. So I just recently looked at the World Cup squad and I was like, oh, I knew this guy, and I know the name. Look, I didn't know enough about them, but I followed England squad a lot, and I've watched Premier League, so I know a lot about them. So I don't know much about Nigerian squad. It's I knew that some of them did well in the under-20s and the 17s World Cup and stuff like that. So I don't know enough about it. So I think the group is kind of tough. If they get out of the group stage, I'll be happy about it.
Okay.
I think that's an achievement alone because
yeah.
you look at that group, you look at Argentina, you look at Iceland, you look at Croatia, Nigeria. Yeah. On paper, you're probably saying Nigeria finished fourth. So if Nigeria can get out of that group, and it has been called the group of death, I think, out of all the groups, if Nigeria can get out of that group unscathed, then they've done well, personally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how about England? What would your expectations be for this young, inexperienced England side?
If I want to be optimistic, I'll say we should win it. But
I'd love to think that, but I can't see it. I can't see it.
I know. But you have to believe in something. You have to believe in it a bit.
Do you still believe in Santa Claus as well, mate?
No.
Mate, really appreciate your call. Thank you very much for coming on the air tonight.
Yeah.
Take care. Very positive fan there. You don't get, you don't get that a lot, but he just seemed very happy with what's going on, and everything like that. But listen, no, that wasn't Jabril Cisse. God, people hear a name. Who do I know who's famous with the same name? Look, we really appreciate everybody coming on the lines tonight, tuning in. Ranty, thank you very much for coming on the show. Obviously, we're covering England's next friendly, which I think is Wednesday. Not far to go into the World Cup now. Loads of games and stuff in between. But we'll keep building up and touching on more of these subjects leading up to it. Everybody take care. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.